I've been shooting at ducks for so long, there's no need for the pawn. Luigi, my chessboard, see the green magic perform. Go and cluck, stupid fuck upset me, watch me fuck. Yes, I'm young, but this G-cubic units, these dead rappers, so what? Box them in, writing out these letters won't help your bar, or box them out. No matter the paint, they frozen and posted up. Wow, I've been hunting.
So, all right, so we're back on. Maria, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Well, I was just touching on, when we start to meditate and we start to feel the spirit, if you call it the spirit, but it's me. When you feel your being lift, the first thing that you feel is fear, and a lot of people stop there for a while. Yeah. But then after that, you start seeing your hands, you see your face, you see that you are an avatar. You are. Yeah. So, it doesn't end here, it's okay. I know I continue, but you see it happen, it to me, when I think that's for me, the time that I say I woke up, was when I felt that. So, that's all I have to say.
Okay, no problem. Hey,
I'm just thinking.
You're thinking, okay, gather your thoughts, okay? But other than that, so thank you for that. But Eric, so what can you gather from just seeing it for the first time and noticing what you are seeing? Were you able to identify anything within that scene specifically of him, playing the lotus, etc.?
Absolutely. And just by hearing Maria, like I got a lot of insight from that I didn't even know. But I'm aware of the astral plane, and you explained the astral body, which is very, very vivid. Even for me personally, I've had my own share of experiences in the spirit realm where I would think that it's just dreams, you know what I mean? And it's not, And I recognize the metaphysical world, and now that I'm aware of it, seeing that in the movie, even going into the astral realm, definitely, it kind of gave me the perspective of, that's something that he recognized off the jump, because maybe I'm thinking that, he didn't just wander around and not, he wasn't familiar with where he was at. This was almost like, I'm going back home, going back to see my ancestors, and now that I'm acquainted back with them, it's almost like you have a dream and you see somebody that you lost years back,
He was comfortable.
It was a very, very, very comfortable feeling. He didn't have any kind of fear, but even after that part, just like what Maria was saying, because it's a very, very new experience for him. In that instance, when he woke up, he was almost in a state of shock, or in a state of defense, because he was still trying to get used to, just that after effect. But in the very midst of it, he was very, very comfortable. He walked and talked with his dad, and I thought that was a very, very powerful moment. So for me, experiencing that even in my own dream state, I saw the movie. I was like, yeah, I've had that experience. Woke up and was like, what was that? And then he kind of remembered, that the next time he went back into that place, the second time around, he noticed and found his surroundings, and was a lot more comfortable the second time around.
Very true. And it's something I noticed that they do. They don't eat the lotus specifically. They crush it up and they break it down into a liquid form. And what that can be interpreted into is him drinking tea, in a sense. And he drinks the tea and then he's covered completely with, it looks like red clay dust. But I don't want to say red clay dust. That's the thing, because I know with red clay is used for protectionary things, for protectionary purposes, or to keep negative energies or entities out of your home, etc. So I don't even want to use that kind of terminology, but to the eyes is like, I look like red clay that they're covering him with. And
I had a theory about that too. I've done a little bit of research and reading up on things that can open up the pineal gland.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I very well thought that it could be even, you know, how people use turmeric on a very consistent basis. You know, it could have been something that like you know, a grounded form of turmeric, and they covered it with him to open up his pineal gland. They said that turmeric has a very strong potency to open up your pineal gland as well. So that could have probably gotten them to that place. So it could possibly be that as well, because it doesn't color.
That's what I want to touch up on that, because is it okay, you know, are we going back to the place, or is it just what you're saying is it gave us the ability to cross over that road, or to cross over the physical into their space, versus we didn't go back to the ancestors because they're here.
Yeah, exactly.
But it just makes us most susceptible to it.
Okay. So I see where you're going, Maria. So are you saying in a sense where we didn't go anywhere, we basically just our eyes was open more deeper into seeing more that's around us already?
Yes.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense, because the way how it's you know portrayed is like he's up, he's in his robe, he's in his royalty robe, and he's looking around, and he's in another
He's
dimension.
in another realm, but he's not in another realm. We're here. They're already here. We just don't see it on a daily.
You have a point. You have a point, because there are moments where we could put something down on the table and it's stirred. It's sturdy. It's stable. It won't move. We turn around 5 minutes later, we see it on the ground, and we're like, I didn't put that on the ground. But your mind is so, you know, you're moving at such a rapid speed in a sense, or a different vibration, that you're not thinking to say, well, that's probably my ancestor. But it depends on what plane or what kind of level of mentality you're on as well too, to even go that route. You're just gonna think, if you're just a normal Joe, you know, church Bible thumper, you're gonna think, well, the hell I get on the ground? Let me go pick it up. You're not gonna think second. You're not gonna think twice. But spiritualists are gonna think like, you know what? I should have meditated today, and I should have lit that candle. This is a sign. Let me go do it right now. My bad, ancestors. My bad. Like it happens that way. So that's very intriguing. And also the representation of the black cat as well too. We got to touch on also, because this is something that has been demonized for centuries. I've heard the stories of there were women that used to have a like for example a bar, and they used to make specific liquor or drinks for workmen, and the drinks were so great or powerful, it will lead the husbands away from their wives into this bar, and they'll spend their time and the entire night with these women, but there was just servers. There was just serving the drinks, and there would be black cats, or just cats period, hanging around the actual bar or the vicinity, because of the type of ingredients that were attracting the cats to this actual location. And the wives caught wind of it, and of course women are petty, just like all of them are petty, but women are petty, especially for what they are very protective over. And they said, oh, these are witches, they're doing some kind of witchery stuff or magic. And then that's where you get the interpretation or the connection of black cat with a witch. And then it goes into black cats are demonized because black cats carry omens, they carry bad luck. And it is the other way around. Black cats in specifically are for protection. They're good luck. They are to connect with with your ancestors, or they're bringing a message similar to how a crow or raven does. Anything black specific. I know this. Let's put it like this: there's no such thing as the color black, obviously, but we're just using it as a term for right now. But just black alone is just demonized, from us to the animals to guns to the phones. Like what's your thoughts on that, specifically on just the black demonization of it, and then having this movie presenting a more positive, real visualization of it?
I think it, you know, all comes down to even what Maria was saying earlier about, you know, just the matrix and how we're being conditioned to believe a certain thing. You know, whatever even my generation, our generation now see on TV is what they want to either sometimes portray, or that's the only thing they'll go by, and they'll feel like that's what reality is supposed to be. And so now that we see that and experience it, they don't research it and look up exactly what the true nature of it really is. And so I feel like knowledge base, if we actually had more people to educate on certain areas of that, there would be less of that. And so as a result, the people will consider, just like you said, Black as a color. And now there's so many controversial things and strife and violence, as well as things that go on, and even in the economic world, that are demonized because of just the portrayal of, you know, Black, the Black cat, is it being bad luck? You know, I saw somebody the other day that had a Black cat, and you know, I thought that, you know, just growing up, there was always that portrayal of it, just like you said, you know, the bad luck, you know, the Black cat is doing this or that, and there's bad luck, or there's just certain things people will talk about. But this person I talk to every single day, it's like, this is literally my guardian angel, you know, and I thought of that, and it makes sense now that you say that, because everywhere she goes, her cat is right there with her. But at the same time, you know, people portray things a certain kind of way because that's all they see in our society today, is they only see a certain thing one place. After they see it one place, they believe it to be true only there. And so even right now, the way the Black cat is portrayed in regular TV, and like compared to Black Panther, it's completely polar opposite. And now you see the strength, you see the willpower, you see the knowledge, you see the just the ability to do a lot more, and also the courage that the Black cat actually does symbolize, rather than it being something that should be demonized. And so I agree with completely what you're saying. And so that's my take on it. I just feel like if it's shown on mainstream media, it's going to always have a negative perspective. But if we actually look offline to see the true root of it, then you'll be able to see a lot deeper in. So I agree completely.
Right. And I really want to see people comment or just speak to say black, not black, but the Black cats are still evil. And I just want to turn to them and ask them, like, well, if Black cats are evil, then what do you think of Black Panther? Because it's not just a movie. So what do you really think of a panther or a Black Panther that is a real animal? What do you think of the Black Panther? Is that a evil cat? Is that an evil animal? No. Like what's like? And another thing, people always go for face value versus digging for the information themselves. I don't get why people, I mean, I get it, it's the conditioning, yes, but for me, within my reality, and for what I've done, if I took people's word, every word, and took people's every perspective or everything for face value, and not go and do digging and know what this is or that is, I will be a very hurtful person.
Yeah, right now, right now, and you know this to be true, there's a battle with our people right now between who's woke and who's not. And you know, rather than it being just about education, it's all about competition on who's more conscious. And I really,
we're so divided. It's on every level.
Yeah.
You know, every race, every level. We are just so divided amongst ourselves that we pick every little thing, you know. I see it more because I was raised different. I know a lot of people say that, but I was raised different. We have, and I know a lot of people say we have all colors of the rainbow in my family, but we do. And I can't, my father passed away not too long ago, and I found out family secrets. Like, I have a grandmother. My grandmother was dark, but she's Puerto Rican. She's, you know, speaks Spanish. What, you know, for me, when I came to the U.S., it didn't click on me. Like, why the hell can't you guys speak Spanish? Why don't y'all speak Spanish? You know.
Yeah,
that was my biggest question. Was like, because why don't y'all speak Spanish? You know. I couldn't dawn. I found out that my grandmother gave up her inheritance because, or my aunt, my titi, gave up her inheritance because she was the light one, the white one, and my grandmother was the dark one, both of the same dad, but he left everything to the light one. And I remember also some of my titis having a talk about saying, how they had to pick at school. They made them, they had to pick. How were they going to pick when they had every color in the family?
Exactly.
It's this, yeah, if it's within us. I didn't think it was within us, but that was my dad. That's part of his family. It was within us. We can't unite. We're breaking, and it's not just Black. It's every race that I've seen, or the brown, us too. We're, coconut this and coconut, and everybody just finds, oh no, we're Aztec, or no, we're whatever. Oh no, I eat tortillas. Oh no, I eat bread. It's whatever. We have to. It's fights amongst each other.
It's
So, and the whole Black thing with the whole cat and everything, that's where I see our cultures are different, because the more indigenous, or I don't want to say Hispanic or Latino, because to me that means European, but the more of us, we look at it as a good thing. It's we run with the panther, we run with the cats, that's a good thing. And the Black, we look at that as good too. I don't know if you've been around Puerto Ricans where the women say, ay mi negro, ay mi negra. For us it's a term of endearment.
Yeah.
And then you come to the US and then it's like, why? I see the conditioning from the outside. And when people tell me it doesn't exist, because I still run into people that say racism doesn't exist, I tell them, you think it doesn't exist? Have a Black kid. Have a Black kid, and you will see the difference between your children's treatments and somebody else's children's treatments.
Exactly. I just, of course, I live it every day, but I just noticed that, just to make it very short, it's fear of who I am. It's fear of knowing that I know who I truly am. It's fear of a Black man. And it's very evident, because if I were to talk to a white coworker, the first thing, if they're trying to make a joke, if we're having an open conversation, hey, don't take this the wrong way. and it's like, look, I'm very open. I'm not sitting here calling you crack or a colonizer, and you're not doing that to me. So just talk. I'm fine. I'm not gonna swing on you. I'm okay, because we're having an open conversation, and I'm open enough and smart enough and wise enough to realize that we're just having a conversation. You're not insulting me. And of course, if it gets to that point, I will step in and put my foot down, just like how you will put your foot down. But it's always that connotation. And when you speak a certain way, you speak a certain tone. Whoa, calm down. And it's like,
I'm just talking.
I'm just talking. Prime example. Again, I'm from Miami. You can walk down the street, you see two Haitians talking, or you see two Jamaicans talking, or you see two indigenous or Puerto Ricans talking. And, we talk very loud. We talk like we're going back and forth, we're arguing. And then if you really listen to the conversation and you're really a part of that culture, you're sitting there laughing the whole entire time, because there's nothing that serious. But to the outside world, it's, look at them. They're about to fight. They're about to get into it. It's trouble. It's dangerous. Don't go down there. You hear them arguing, walk the other way. And it's like, and then when you hear that from down the street from those same people, you're like, both of you will stop and be like, what's wrong with them? We're just whatever. You ready to continue playing dominoes? All right, cool. Let's play dominoes. That's all it was. And that is the reality I don't want to say forced, but that I chose to live in, because this is my reality. This is what I have to live with every single day. I have to step out the front door and keep my mind in a positive mindset to say that I won't get pulled over when either I'm walking or in the carpooling or driving myself, or even on a bus. I won't get pulled over and get harassed. I won't get harassed by my fellow coworkers or the managers or the people that's up top. I won't get bothered or bamboozled or bombarded with just BS after BS after BS. Like, I have to keep my mindset strong, and it's very hard for a Black man and woman, brown, coconut, don't matter. It's difficult for us on a daily basis and still keep this big old smile on our faces when it really eats it sort of eats us up alive. But honestly, we don't focus so much on it because we have other things that we must focus on and other things that we must do within our own worlds, within our own universes, that it's just like, it's not even worth our time to even bask in it, because the more we bask in it, the more we attract that kind of information or attract that kind of energy toward us. And then the next thing you know, we're doing this, or we're on the phone and we're recording to say, yeah, see, this is what I was telling you, just to create some type of angry, this rage thing that's been happening as well too within our community. Something happens on the news, all of a sudden there's a bunch of rage. A week later, somebody's talking about somebody's mama from a reality TV show done broke into somebody's house and did this and that or whatever, just a sex tape. And it's like,
yeah,
what?
the emotion in it is a lot more public now because of social media. Yes. Because social media is now able to show what goes on when there wasn't any technology. Now the senses are a lot more heightened than they used to be. And I mean, because, for me, I can't tell how many times you would consider, I guess, quote unquote, profiling, every single year. I've had the same neighbors for about 5 years. Every single year, at least one time a year, they ask me if I still live here, or do I live here? I can't tell you how many times I've heard it. So, I mean, it's very real, but at the same time, you don't expect somebody my age to be doing these kind of things because, I always go back to my generation. Not ashamed, but I'm not embarrassed either. I'm just a little bit disappointed because I came from this generation, but at the same time, there's always a way to show an alternative, and I feel like this movie did that because it shows the mindsets of our people, and people had a boycott about why there was so much of a percentage of Black people than it was white people. Well, because of this perspective, we had to do this. Ryan Coogler had to do this, and so the CIA agent Ross, in my honest opinion, was all white people to actually experience the technology and the knowledge and the strength and the courage that we actually do portray. And so you had to say, hey brother, stay back here, and just watch us actually save the planet, and then show our technology that you never knew that we had, and the value that we have and the knowledge that we have. Because he was in awe when he saw Shuri helping him with his spine, and he couldn't believe that he could stand up and walk again. But just like you say, just the way we think and the mentality that we have is so microwave, and it's so tainted, and it's so conditioned that, especially times like this, where it's tax time, everybody's going crazy on social media, but at the same time, a person who has a different perspective and mindset is going to want to go even deeper and further, and not just try to impress social media, but at the same time, try to elevate themselves personally. But we live in a world where that's a lost art, especially for different cultures that are in the world, and this new technology era that we're in.
Correct. Kaba, welcome.
What's going on, man? I truly apologize, man. Y'all caught me in the mix of shopping and stuff like that.
It's no pressure. It's no pressure at all. We were just basically what we was talking about, similar to what me and you were speaking on the other night when it came to the astral plane, and we was breaking it down as far as how it worked, the different tools that they use are for T'Challa to get to the next level, to speak to his ancestors, things of that nature. That's what we were speaking basically on. And we got into the mentality of our people, the depiction of just black alone with the cat and how it was demonized before, and now it could probably change for better in a sense where they color black with the black cat, for example. That could be seen as a more positive light versus a demonized version, because this black cat was the one that saved. You could say it saved the world in a sense, in the movie, in a sense, or saved his own civilization or nation, as he progressed and moved forward. All right, so that's where we're at. But we're just gonna go ahead and move forward, and this is where it's gonna get a little bit more fun. Of course, everybody loved Killmonger. Everybody realized that Killmonger was every one of us over here. Like it was a in-your-face depiction, 100% on who we are. And what's funnier, not funny, but you get what I'm saying. What's funnier about it is the fact that he was in the museum and he didn't care about the money. He didn't care about nothing else. He went in and was like, nah, don't worry about it. I'll take it off your hands. It's vibranium. Don't worry about it. I got you. And she's like, excuse me? Just like what we was talking about earlier. That fear kicked in real quick. A black man telling her about, don't worry about it. This is it. And teaching you knowledge about what the artifact is. Yeah, she's terrified. She's terrified because immediately right behind the little right behind them was security. The second she looked at him, it's like, excuse me, sir. Like they was ready. They was already fearing the man already. But the point of the matter is that he already knew where he was coming from. He was a depiction of us, which we know where we're coming from. And on top of that, we know exactly what the colonizers are capable of 100%. So, damn, 10 minutes again. Tim, you know what? I'm gonna just pay this $15. I'm gonna just let this ride. I go always cancel it. But point is that as I'm doing that, what did you think of Killmonger's character specifically? Like, you know, what was your take on that?
My take on his role was like you said.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm gonna pretty much come back off that because, yeah, he did represent us over here in America. And see, the thing is about the Black Panther movie, not to kind of get off the subject.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
It was like, it was showing a time to me where we were in position of power. So it was like the scenes were kind of like contradicting a little bit, because we know at one point in time in ancient history, because to me, and if you feel different, feel free to say so. And if any one of you guys feel different, feel free to say so. To me, it's based off Kemetic. That's what it's based off on, because when you go in history, you see at one point in time when we ruled, you know, we had all the resources, we had all the land, and then it wasn't until the invasion of, you know, people like the Persians, the Greeks, and the Romans, things of that nature. And when we fought, you know, endlessly, and eventually they took over, right? The colonizers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the movie, it's showing that time frame. It's showing that time frame. And then with Killmonger, right, he comes in and he's showing a different time frame. But again, in present day, the movie is not relevant as far as Wakanda. It's not relevant right now, because we understand that Africa is stripped. Africa is invaded. Kemet is no longer Kemet, right? Egypt is no longer Egypt, right? Africa is not the way that they put it out there in the movie now. So again, to me, it's like the scene. A lot scenes are like contradictory. But I get the concept of what they were doing. But to our people, right? They're gonna see it and they're gonna be like, well, damn, this, what time did this take place? When did this happen? Is it true now? Like, is this what it really is now? And if you really think about it, it's like, no. Maybe in some parts of Africa, they still may rule. They still may have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm not saying it ain't like that. But with Chillamaga part and he come in and he like, yo, what's up? Our people over here are starving. Y'all got all the resources, things of that nature. That was cool. But again, we know who in control of those resources right now.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Is it making sense?
Yeah, it is. And to add on to what you're saying, it does make sense. But my whole entire, because when I saw the film the first time and I saw how Killmonger, I immediately identified with everything, and I saw everything that what it is for face value and deeper. Just looking into it and me knowing of the character, just from the comics alone and the knowledge that I've already researched. So with that being said, Killmonger had a very awesome and beautiful approach. He actually did what damn near everybody said when Trump went into office, okay? When, I'm gonna leave, I'm going to Canada, I'm going to Africa, I'm going back to my home. He actually did it. He actually went back himself, by himself, and brought back one of the colonizers that in the comics killed T'Chaka. But in the movie, of course, T'Chaka passed away in an explosion in Civil War. But in the comics, he was T'Challa's father was killed by Claw, however you pronounce his name, and he brought the body back with a bullet in his head and said, "Here you go. This is the guy that has been terrorizing you guys for generations. Here he is." You see what I'm saying? Now their approach was perfect. To me, at the end of the day, just like all of us are, if one of you guys step to me on a football field or a basketball field with a lot of hostility, you're going to get the same energy back. It's all about how you present yourself at the end of the day that a lot of us don't necessarily understand or correlate with too much. And we may know it, but we just don't care at that time. We just want what we want. We want to get what we want at the end of the day. And it's like, you can't do that. It's some things you just can't do that with. You just gotta literally present yourself in a sense or in a manner, in a way where you are coming in a very awareness kind of way, or very, it's alarming, it's awareness, but at the same time, you're still bringing yourself to say, look, these are the kind of people we're dealing with over here on the outside. You know, not some, I want the throne. What's up, auntie? You sitting up here on your ass doing this and that while 200 million of us over here, like, you're very hostile. You see what I'm saying? Like, I get it. I understand why you're hostile. I understand why you're angry. At the same time, it represented the angry black man on top of that too. And it was like, oh my God. It's like, it was such an emotional roller coaster for me, but go ahead.
You know what I really thought about as well, because not only did he go back, but he went back strategically.
Yes.
You know, he went back with a plan.
Yes.
But even before that plan, he built up his resume, meaning that, how did he get his name? You know, he was ex-military. He went to MIT. You know, he stayed up first and then went and wait for the right time. So in all of these actions was timing, because, you know, he was intentional, but he also had timing, and so he knew when the time was right. But going back to what is it Kaba?
Yeah, he was setting up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. He you know, I agree, but then I disagree in regards to you know, just the time and place that we're in right now. I think in the time and place we're in right now, people need to see that perspective of what Africa could have been if everything was not stripped from us in regards to the wealth. I feel like I feel like our younger generation needs to see what the Black Panther truly is. You know, people younger than me, meaning like, you know, in like 20 or 15, 10 years old, they need to see and understand what that culture of wealth is. And so, not because of the fact that, yeah, Killmonger came and wanted to get his revenge, but at the same time, he was planning and it was strategic, but also because it was hidden. And nobody really knew that T'Challa and T'Chaka were, you know, the keepers of all the vibranium in the world. They only thought there was a little small piece of it that was held that they already took, but they didn't know there was an ample amount that was already there, you know, in their possession. And at the same time, again, it was hidden, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, vibranium. You know, it was hidden. You know, and so like a lot of that, I feel like was what stemmed Killmonger's rage was because he knows that that's us. You know, we want to have our right back to our royal place, and so he felt like he didn't choose to lose his father that way. You know, unfortunately, it happened that way, and had things have changed, he could have probably experienced Wakanda with his father, because remember in the movie he was ready to bring T'Chaka was ready to bring Mbuku? No, not Mbuku. I can't think of the name.
Jimbaku, something
Jiboku,
like that.
yeah,
Brother.
to bring him back. He was ready to bring him back. You know, regardless of the punishment he was gonna get, but he could have brought him back with Killmonger. You know, that could have changed the entire narrative. But because that instance happened, that just his rage. But also, you know, again, they were hidden. If they were not hidden, I I feel like Killmonger wouldn't, you know, spread the wealth in a different way. That's what I feel like.
Exact. And to go back to what and to add on to what you were saying too, because the thing is about Killmonger as a child, the young boy Killmonger. Let's say that the story was he brought back the brother. T'Chaka brought back his brother, put him for trial, and Killmonger came. It still would have been some kind of rivalry. It still would have been some kind of Abel Cain story or Alexander story, the Moses story. It still would have been some relevance of that because it's it's cousin versus cousin. They both have right to the throne. And at some point, Killmonger is gonna know the truth. T'Challa's gonna know the truth when they get older, and they're gonna be like, "Yo, like, yeah, you my cuz, but at the same time, look what y'all done did to my uncle because this is what we was living before we even came back over here, and y'all neglected them. So, regardless of how the action would have been, neglection would have been the main topic or the main piece of it. And to me, the way how T'Chaka was moving in that whole entire scene and movie, if they would have brought back the brother alive, I think he still would have left Killmonger where he was, alone, scared, and not knowing what was happening. But the energy would have been more towards the father versus T'Chaka or T'Challa, because it would have been like, "Yo, you just left me." Like, it was like, you know, it would have been towards the father, and then the narrative would have changed in a sense where it's father versus son. Like, where was my father? And I know in a way we didn't want to go in that route movie wise or storyline wise, because it really would have hit home for a lot of Black men that did not grow up with their father, or they knew of their father, they know of their father, and then boom, he disappears. And it's not in a state where it's like, yeah, my dad went back to Africa, he went to go change the world. Like, it ain't gonna be nothing like that. Where in our reality, you know what I mean, for most of us. So does that alone, it just makes you notice all the different ways they could go about it, and it's just like, nah, this probably is the best way. You know, kill off the uncle.
Right.
You know, leave Killmonger and then see where it happens from there. Boom, there it is. So yeah, you're definitely on point. Um, it's just interesting on how all of that came together, specifically. And I heard you speak on the vibranium because I want to touch on this real quickly. Not quickly, but I just wanted to touch on it before it slipped my mind. Now, when it comes to the vibranium, element-wise, commodity-wise, now this is for you, Eric. How does that correlate into commodities? Because from my research and what I've learned from other lectures, from reading and researching on this specific element, the closest thing to vibranium element wise, not anything else, because I have another one as well, but it's more spiritual. But on the elemental wise, commodity wise, iridium is similar to vibranium. Now, do you know anything about iridium by any chance, or have you heard of it before?
I have heard of iridium. I need to read up on the comparisons with iridium as it does with the comet and vibranium, because iridium, as well as the rareness of the commodity, as well as the value and also just the demand for it. But also at the same time, I feel like vibranium and iridium definitely coincide. So I really want to read up on that a bit more, because I know that I heard that somewhere else they compared vibranium to iridium. So I'm gonna read up on that a good bit more. But I have heard of iridium. Absolutely.
Okay. For what I've noticed so far, I believe OZT is heavier than ounce.
Yes.
And there's another one. I think it's OT. I could be wrong, but OT. But I'm gonna just stick with OZT. OZT currently is a heavier weight compared to just OZ, which is the ounce. So it's like when I started looking into that, I'm like, okay, so if 20 tons of iridium, what would that is in ounces? What would that correlate, or what would that translate into OZT? And you know, I kept reading it. I saw it say $40 billion. I'm like,
right,
because it's a heavier element, it's a heavier commodity than gold, than silver, than any other element that's on the plane. And it made sense because, excuse me, when you watch, I haven't, the closest I've held gold was a golden coin, but you could tell the significance of the weight versus a quarter. A quarter is like similar to a penny, you know, you toss it up a little bit, but the gold coin, it has just a little bit heavier than a quarter. It has a different weight to it. So if you hold in a golden brick and you hold in like a good 2-3 golden bricks, you're going to be really tugging it, you know, if you have it in the bag. So I can imagine what iridium feels like. You know, just one brick of iridium. I can imagine how that feels, or how heavy that specifically is. And I know of iridium mass producing in Haiti, but see, this is another thing that we're going to go into now. The depiction or perception of these countries, or these third world countries, for some reason, they're always broke, they're always poor, they have nothing. For some reason, they don't have food to eat, but they're still here. The people are still good in those communities, in those jungles, in those cities. They're still good. I don't get it. I don't understand that actual aspect of it. And it brings me to realize, like, well, these must be the areas or countries that's being invaded, just like how Africa was invaded for diamond and gold and cotton and all kind of resources, because everybody knows, yes, everybody holds a significant portion to creating the world, or having the world hold its own little way in. But everybody knows that Africa as a whole supports and distributes majority of resources to everybody. So it is very interesting with that aspect. So to stay on topic with when it comes to the money portion, if you were a holder of Wakanda, the king of Wakanda, how would you finance Wakanda?
That's a good question.
Can you repeat that, please?
Oh, hold on, Eric. Maria, I said if you were the Empress of Wakanda, right? How would you finance Wakanda? Eric was about to answer his portion, or do you?
No, I want to hear Maria on that.
You want to hear Maria?
No, no. How would I fund Wakanda? Is that the question?
Correct. Finance it. Yes, that's correct. How would you financially grow Wakanda? Like, what would your main portion be to keep it
Oh
growing?
my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Before that question, or before I pass that question to anybody else, I just wanted to, I had a comment on the resources of Africa. Like you said, that it's so portrayed, all these third world countries. However, they've got all this gold, they got all these diamonds, it's not that it's a third world country, because it's not. That's what they're telling us it is. If you actually get to go to Africa, get to go to Kenya, get to see, it is beautiful. Yes, just like every other part or everywhere that you've been, you do have some of the poorer countries or villages. However, they're happy, and they're happy because they aren't so into the money, like into the gold, they had all of that before these people came in and took over, and they were happy. They were traveling already all over the world. It was nothing new. They were already trading. We were already trading before this happened. It was nothing new. So, I keep forgetting I'm on this camera. Damn.
It's fine. Take your time.
Yes.
Take your time. We're working with
it. But we were already doing all of that. Okay, yes, the diamonds, all that, but that was Earth. Diamonds are so overrated. They're this much value. Please, Africa is never gonna finish producing what it produces now.
True.
That's why it's not. So how is it a poor country?
Thank you. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to like really get to, because it's like, how are you telling us this third world is poor, is this or that or the third, and it's still thriving, and it's still thriving.
Yes.
People still go there to visit. Why are people still going there to visit if it's not thriving or is poor? Like, what's the purpose?
and there's so many diamonds that's why I said they're so overrated, because there's so many diamonds that purposely keep them from us here. Yeah, they do. But I'm gonna be dead. We're all gonna be, our skin's gonna be dead or whatever, and it's still Africa's still gonna be producing. Still, we're gonna be told, you know what? No, it's the poorest country. Poor people. that was my comment on that.
Got you. All right. So go ahead.
I feel like as far as like how I would finance Wakanda. Is that what you say? How would I finance Wakanda?
That's correct.
Yeah. So because of our experience in the U.S. and in knowing exactly how our U.S. dollar is doing, I would not go to the regular fiat currency. I would stick with mainly commodity, meaning vibranium. I would also stick with, that being its asset. I would stick with that being its asset. Just like how right now, the U.S. dollar, I don't say it should, I say it will need the gold standard back. It will need to have gold as an asset again, to at least be back, because the current itself is something to make it more stable. So right now, I feel like to stick with an asset as far as a commodity like vibranium, that would be big. And now I know I'm probably chopping a little bit, but can you hear me pretty good?
Yes, continue. Yeah.
Okay, so right now I feel like because the fiat world is hurting so much, I feel like sticking with assets and only asset backs right now would be the best way to go. Because in my honest opinion, I don't too much like having to exchange something for currency. I wish we would just completely die away with having to exchange something for currency. Now we do live in a world, we do have to exchange things for currency. Maybe we'll live in like an economically free world, but right now the way I'd finance it is completely through asset-backed vibranium, because that would be the way that we'd be able to exchange for goods. Now, the way we exchange it would probably be very, very minimal, or maybe in just technology, maybe in trade of other technology that we may come across, because there's so many ideas. I saw downtown in Wakanda, somebody was, using their phone, it was holographic, and so like the technology could be traded out, or maybe just the asset by itself. But I feel like sticking away with just paper currency completely has to die away in Wakanda. I don't even think that you would use that. I would feel like just strictly asset backed by vibranium would be its complete wealth. And I feel like, even in a place like that, you wouldn't even necessarily need to have an economy like that. But in a world where we do have a full economy, I feel like asset is the best way to go to finance it.
In order for Wakanda to have money or like paper currency, then that would mean so that they go ahead and integrate with the rest of the world.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But why would we have to? Or why would they have to? Really?
Right.
And I understand the point of Kilmer. You don't want to help us and all, but it would all come down to is we are not ready.
Because a prime example is, and that's a great point that Maria just said. A prime example of that is Zimbabwe. Their currency was and still is a notary. It's a note, so it's like a bond, So although it's paper, it's also set up as a bond, so it's like an asset. So paper currency trading into other currencies of the world, definitely Wakanda can't do that if it's going to be hidden. So it's really interesting because they did have UN meetings. So they did have meetings with the UN. So they are trading some kind of currency. If they're going to be affiliated with the UN, they're doing something that helps with their politics. Because how else are they getting any kind of pull or power with the UN if they're not trading any of their currency or any of their economy with other countries? So I just thought that was very interesting too.
Definitely. And excuse me, it makes perfect sense because speaking of the UN, I believe you touched on it just a little bit, but when the movie was ending, T'Challa was going to the UN. And it's like, why did you go and do that? We're like, part of me was like, cool, great, because not only will this help all Africans, but Africans of European descent, Africans of North American descent, etc., all over the world. But we all know how this works. Once they get a hold of it, they want to give you 2% and then keep the 98. And it's like, bruh, this whole 100% is mine. What are you doing? This is not for you. like, give me my 100%, not just this 2% or this 1%. And then it's not even the good 1%. You know what I mean? It's literally having a pot of rice, and you do one baby scoop of rice, and you're like, all right, enjoy your meal. And it's like, no, the pot is supposed to be for mine. This whole bowl is mine. What are you doing? So that, just seeing him go to UN, and I know how the comic world is gonna work. I know how that part is gonna work. But besides all that, in reality, if that was real,
right,
it would be a backward step. Similar, like for example, Gaddafi. All right. Gaddafi was one of the leaders for Libya in Africa, and he was looked as one of the top leaders or best leaders of Africa in quite some time. And or put it like this, to my knowledge, put it like that, because they don't really talk about that kind of information because they don't want us to be sparked with, oh, there's a great leader in Libya, in Africa, really?
You gotta move out my way.
Remember, they want us to keep remind us that they're third world and poor, whatever. So this is what I'm saying. in a sense, Gaddafi was the first T'Challa. He went to the UN, and you know the story. He went to the UN. He said, "Hey, look, we're breaking away from all of you. We don't want to work with you anymore. We don't care for you people anymore. You people are ruthless and evil. We're gonna do our own thing." Everybody was in uproar, just like how everybody is, just like how you are at work or you're in a school setting and you want to set yourself differentiate yourself away from everybody, or you want to be to yourself. People look at you like, why you want to be different? What are you doing? What are you doing over there? I want a piece of that. No, let me do what I want to do. Let me do my own thing. Y'all want to do that little crap, but to stay on topic, Gaddafi wanted to create his own banking system and have the world go through that one banking system and have it backed by the golden by gold. Because who produces the gold? Who has the gold? He does. Africa does. No, not. I mean, yeah, there's other places.
They were the only ones too that can back it up, or are.
Exactly. That can actually sustain themselves in a banking format. Nobody didn't want that.
Not even the U.S.
Exactly. Because if that happens, then quote unquote the dark ages will come back again. And if people don't realize what know what the dark ages is, I'll touch on it just shortly. Dark ages are when specifically when Mansa Musa went to Mecca. He dropped the golden nugget in that city because that city was struggling, and it overthrew Europe. Okay. When it overthrew Europe, it threw out. It's basically what he did was he overthrew the entire world, meaning that the value of that gold that he dropped in Mecca rose, and he was able to bring Mecca back to its providence, but it killed everybody else off. That was not part of that actual continent specifically. So in retrospect, that's when you hear of the Moors going to Europe. You hear before the Renaissance, you hear of Black Europeans, Black Moors living in Europe, rebuilding Europe, teaching these Europeans and being their scholars and being their teachers and being their professors. And then when they realized that they got enough knowledge to do what they need to do and all that good stuff, killed them off. That was the Renaissance. I believe I could have the year mixed up, but I know it's in the 16th century. Towards mid 16th century, you notice that everything started to get whitewashed after that. Before 16th century, everything was all us. So again, to stay on topic, those are the dark ages. So if Gaddafi would have went on with, if he would have got granted, or if he would have did it by himself to say, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and create this bank that's backed by gold or commodities in Africa, and it's going to be based out of Africa. It's going to create the dark ages all over again. There will be no United States. There will be no more Europe. There will be nothing. Everybody got to go run to Africa and give them all their money and trade through them. And of course, that's a benefit for us. No matter where we are, that's a benefit for us. But end of the day, that's what would have happened. Next thing you know, he's getting dragged through his own city. He's getting embarrassed, and he was killed and strangled, killed to death. Just put it like that. He was beaten and killed to death. And it was like all those plans, the person, his successor, why was that not continued? Why was that not still being pushed? Obvious answer, obvious question. But we could put two and two together. But that's, yeah. So that was the closest person to T'Challa ever currently in this lifetime right now. Closest person.
And I got a little small question for you also, but even for Maria as well. What did you think, or do you feel like they owed it to the U.S. to actually have a Wakanda International in Oakland? Like, do you think that they needed to do that? Or do you feel like they should have just kept their technology in Wakanda? Because although, Killmonger wanted it to be spread, this was the wealth that was being brought in from Wakanda. Do you feel like they should have done Wakanda International in Oakland?
I feel they should have kept it to themselves.
I agree.
I know it might be contradictory to as the type of person I am, because I'm the lovey, let's I am that way, but at the same time, sadly, I have seen the ugliness of the world. And with that technology, if you can help, because even in the movie, they were helping their people. Granted, they were helping their people in that area, but they were helping their people.
Mm-hmm.
So they chose to help. They chose to help the white guy. Hey, they didn't have to. So,
Funny. Go ahead.
but because of, and this is just me, modern day, what I have seen coming to the U.S. or being here, I can see why keep it to ourselves. Hey, just keep it. What do we need? With that sort of technology, there's always going to be somebody that's greedier than another person. You got more money. The way that this world works, the way this physical world works, it's money, gold, whatever. You got most, that's where it's going to go to. So then it's going to go to another country. It's going to bomb us. So,
yeah.
by keeping that technology, they're actually protecting the world.
It's similar to what she said, but a little bit more different. But it is contradicting because, and I don't want to say double standard because I just don't want to say double standard. But a part of me want to say yes, but in a more secretive, in a Moorish way, where this is being fun. This is not something we're gonna broadcast. It's not something we're gonna be showing to just anybody. This is something that's strictly for us, by us, and to us. And there will be special schooling on how this can be done. And what I mean by schooling, not just teaching of how vibranium is, how it works, or etc., but also teaching the spirituality of it as well too, because when you speak to spirituality on top of the education, as a teacher or a scholar, you're able to identify, children, by the way, because this is going to be for the future. So you're teaching children this stuff. You are going to be able to identify the children that are able to handle this kind of information and the type of children that are going to be so greedy and so more for themselves in a sense, more selfish. There you go. In a more selfish way, because yes, children are children, but children are just ancestors. We are the ancestors basically. And if you're not really thinking on that kind of aspect, just observe a 2-year-old and see how smart and intelligent they maneuver around a room. But the entire time you try talking to them, they can't really speak yet. You're thinking, oh, they're just a baby. They ain't listening. They ain't this, they're that. But they remember all that you just said. They record everything. They know exactly what's happening. That's why they're able to walk so quickly, or they're so anxious to start crawling and to start getting on their feet. They know what's good. They know how to move themselves. And then once they hit that wall of these labels and laws and this and that, then their mind is like, I don't know what to do anymore. I give up.
Yeah.
But to continue, that's my aspect of it. But then there's the other side of me that agrees with Maria. No, keep it within this homeland. Because the second, just like how they did the Black Panther Party, just like how they did Malcolm X, just like how they did the Black Euros, they will infiltrate.
Okay, so here's a question then.
I'm your buddy. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's a question then. Okay, so let's say, okay, we're going to share, right? But history has proven the white man is greedy. So then are we getting rid of the white man?
No.
If we're going to share, if we're going to share, okay, let's share with everybody. So let's share with everybody. But everybody that's like us.
Right. Well, here's my thing.
So now what? Now what to that?
Well, it wouldn't get rid of the white man, no. But my thing will be bringing back segregation. And what I'm, huh? Yeah, bringing back segregation, and not in a negative tone, because if it wasn't for integration, we wouldn't be where we're at right now. So if we bring it back to the basis where it's just strictly for us and only us, and we are creating communities and different ways where it's just protected by us and etc. There is no such, well, I'm not going to say no such thing, because they will try, but they won't be able to infiltrate so easily. It'll be extremely more harder for them to go ahead and do so versus, yeah, we let one in, and then now that we let this one in, his whole family is going to run through. And if not, and what I mean by his whole family, he could be that one good egg, right? But he is going to breed within us as well too, because of course he's going to meet someone, or she's going to meet someone that's just the right match. And then within history and within the future, within that astral, that ancestry lineage, there's going to be that one grandkid that's just going to be like, no, this is for all of us. This is supposed to be for us.
Yep.
And it's going to start a revolution within that little bracket. That little one tree off the family tree is going to start a whole different chain reaction. And it's going to be back to this level again. It's going to be like, wait, how did we let this happen again? You know?
That's why, you know, that's why I feel like it's a terrible idea for them to share their technology and knowledge, because a prime example is even just staying in the MCU realm.
Mm-hmm.
It was a terrible idea for Tony Stark to share his knowledge and technology, although he wanted to be in the forefront, you know, and show his wealth. Now everything is militarized. Now all this technology is creating more malice. So just think if they have vibranium in the U.S. and in the other countries. It doesn't just go to the U.S. It now is being traded into within other countries now. And so now it's in the public domain. And so now that they have this outreach, you know, it's going to be further than just outreach. It's going to be an outbreak, because everybody's going to start to turn a little bit more violent. And just like, again, with the Tony Stark technology, everything was militarized. All they got to do is take vibranium, militarize it, patent it, and create almost like if you saw the movie Independence Day.
Yes.
You know, and the second movie they made, everything was by the technology that was discovered in that crashed ship.
Yep.
You know, or even just the technology as a whole. So now everything is militarized and everything is a lot more advanced. But also at the same time, there were still people being violent using the technology in other places, in various places. And so I feel like even just in that universe, it's a terrible idea for them to do that, only because of the fact that they should have stayed in their country where they were sharing the wealth. Killmonger had the right intention on wanting to get his revenge back, but at the same time, this outreach should not have been past Wakanda, because almost like how Black Wall Street was set up. Like Wall Street was set up in Oklahoma, to where it was just sharing the wealth within that community, not within other various states. It was only in Oklahoma, and it was stopped. But it was sad that it did, because everybody was creating their own economy in that one various place. So it should not have left, in my opinion.
Oh, very true. And then we all know what happened with that city. It got bombed. The second, like literally, we was producing our own doctor, just like I was saying earlier. We were doctors, astrologists, teachers, schoolings, transportation, and then out of nowhere, there's like a hero replica of Hiroshima kind of bomb, just dropped, an atomic bomb, excuse me, just dropped on the city, and it's like, y'all really don't want us to thrive like this? Like, y'all really don't want us to just have our own? Like, we're separating ourselves from you. The war had just finished. I believe World War I had just finished. It was in the 30s. The union stuff had just wrapped it up because the union was mainly created for the people that was coming from overseas. That was for them, not for us. When we came out of slavery, yeah, we had the jobs, and we was the ones doing majority of the jobs. So they created the union to say, hey, we want jobs too. We're living here too. Where's the jobs for us? All the black people getting the jobs. What's going on? Y'all doing all this complaining? Cool. Y'all can have the fucking jobs. We're gonna go to OKC and we're gonna do our own thing. Oh, we don't like that either. Bomb. We're gonna bomb you.
Exactly.
What can I do? Like, what else can I do?
Right.
And it's the same today. Like, I get a car, I get pulled over. Why you in this Rolls Royce? I can't have a Rolls Royce. Like, what's wrong with me having a Rolls Royce? It's a never-ending chain reaction. Well, I don't want to say never-ending because it can end, but it's an ongoing chain reaction. So my next question now is shifting to the women. What was the hindsight in a sense, or what did you think? Matter of fact, what did you think of the women in the movie? Period. Anybody?
Yay!
Okay, well, I feel like the women really portrayed what a lot of the women in this society are the opposite of right now, only because the woman that is portrayed in our society right now that people see on TV is just just by the body, not by the mind. You see the intellect, starting with Shuri. You know, her intellect, even as a young woman,
Turn
also
off that light.
really portrays big time. You know, and it also shows that, you know, a lot of women who are trying to do something even in our country are sometimes overshadowed, even in the social media spectrum, by people who are just flaunting their body around. But at the same time, you see a strong woman that's in the is it Dora? I can't think of the name. Dora. I forget what their
the army name.
Right. Yeah.
The jury Marie, something like that.
Jury Marie. Yeah. So compared to Jury Marie, very very strong, defending, very protective over just what they believe in, and also the loyalty, because you notice that Okoye was very loyal to the throne, just not to one person. She was loyal to the throne, because when Killmonger came to the throne, she was loyal to the throne. She wasn't going to just try to overthrow. She probably did an oath and was going to do all she could to defend her land. And in Wakanda, it wasn't just the throne; it was also her land. You know, so Nakia was going to protect T'Challa, but there was a big protection factor that I saw that was very, very profound to me. So the women that I saw portrayed in Black Panther, very, very, very strong-willed. The intellect was even stronger, but at the same time, their resolve and their ability to not give in and to overpower to a certain aspect was something that I really, really caught. So that's my take on that.
Okay. My take a little bit on just the women alone. Yes, they were beautiful. All of them, they were beautiful. And what I mean by beauty, meaning that it wasn't just the facial or the features or bodily features. Like every woman that was represented in that movie that spoke, even if we go back to Civil War, and before Okoye was the main traveler and protector of T'Challa, there was another one, and she met face to face with Scarlet Witch, and she's like, either move or you will be moved. Straight face, like no playing games. This is not something that you want to go heads up with. And of course, everybody knows Scarlet Witch to be one of the top women in Marvel that could go hand-to-hand combat. But this is a different level, and she's not ready. And the representation in reality, in the real life, is not everybody do know this or know of it is, and I read up on this years ago. But these women were the ones that were considered female terminators towards the European colonizers, because they literally started warfare against any infiltrator that came into present day what is called the Republic of Benin, or Benin, if I stated it correctly, and they were called the Dahomey Amazons. And the Dahomey Amazons was a group of Black women or African women that were highly skilled in martial arts, just like how you saw in the movie, martial arts, and they protected the king. They protected their own village. They protected their own people. And if you cross them, I feel sorry for you. It's not going down like how you think it's going to go down. Unless you think you're going to die, that's exactly what's going to happen if you cross these Dahomey Amazons. And another thing as well that a lot of people may not know of Wakanda is that type of mentality that the Dahomey Amazons are loyal to the throne. They're very peaceful women. They're mothers, but when it's time to defend the land, they're going to defend the land on the throne. They're going to defend their people and their families. This is the thing that a lot of people don't know about Wakanda, because not a lot of people read the comics of Black Panther. But if you are an infiltrator, if you are an outsider, and you're creeping through the woods, you're creeping through the jungle to say, yeah, we're going to go ahead and invade Wakanda. We're going to take the vibranium. We're going to do this and do that. The reason why it was easier for Killmonger, because he went through the village and he revealed himself to be Wakandian. Only difference. Okay? If he did not have that and he was just coming in through the village and he was just going through the woods or the jungle, he would have met booby traps. But before he met the booby traps, he would have saw people's heads on stakes in a line to show, if you think about coming through this jungle or coming through this land, this is what's going to happen to you.
Right.
See if you're bold enough to do it, and this is what's going to happen to you. The Dahomey Amazons, when they put in front of their village, they will behead the enemy or behead the European and put their head on stakes to show the other intruders or invaders to say, this is what we did to your people. Because y'all trying to invade us and try to kill us off and do this and do that. This is what's going to happen to you if you even think twice and bold. If you're that bold to even walk past this lane, go ahead. Just go ahead. That's how bold and strong and powerful they were as just women alone. And then on top of that, you got Black Panther to fight. Look, bruh, I'm going home. I'm not going to mess with any of this stuff, any of it whatsoever. Any of it whatsoever. Maria, did you have any take on the women that was depicted in the movies by any chance?
Well, I like that they are strength, strength and some softness. But the both of y'all hit it off, the loyalty. With the movie, I like that the way that they're portrayed. Number one, because I have a daughter. But you want your children nowadays to be that way. We want our girls to be that way. We can fight with the best of them.
Yeah,
we can do it. But for me, it also shows the loyalty, especially when she says, "You're not fit to be a king. You don't have the heart." So she's not thinking. She's thinking about her land. So that softness,
the heart of the
I
people.
like that. Yes, that softness, I like that, and the loyalty. So you guys just hit it.
Yeah.
For me, it was more. Well, I think all women are strong. Even the ones that don't know it yet, but at one point or another, that we have no way but to go up. So, and these women in the film, that was their choice. They're doing it, and they're doing it because of love for their country or for Wakanda. So they're doing it because they want to.
Exactly. Highly agree.
And the one thing that I admired about Nakia was not only was she a strong warrior, but even in the beginning that you saw when there were contenders in the different tribes, she was a contender in her tribe.
Yeah.
So that I picked up on. You saw the different people who were contending for the throne, or actually were asked to go up after Yuri was calling, or was Zuri was calling on them to do the challenge. She was one of the contenders in her tribe. So I thought that was very, very profound, because she's showing her rightful place in her strength and her power. If she would have won, then there would have been, the woman would have been the queen, or you could say the ruler of Wakanda. So I thought that was very, very powerful.
Very true. There will be no challenge today. Like,
Right.
exactly. So it really hit home with that. And what most of all, what hit home with me, it's like to briefly go back to Killmonger, how he killed his quote unquote girl, or the woman I just see the woman he was using. It made sense on it even hit home where, and when you're in your African lineage, you see how he treats his woman. When you're in the colonizer's lineage, you see how he treats his woman. And for once in a black movie, I am proud I did not hear one time, bitch, hoe, slut.
Yeah.
I didn't hear none of that. Not one, not even to the chick that got killed. I didn't hear it.
And even in that same token, and I don't want to get too far ahead too, but you also saw on the point to where Okoye was willing to either not kill, but at least take out her own husband for Wakanda. So like that shows the strength of the woman in that movie.
Exactly, and it also show how much love frequency is vibrating through that entire land, because he if it was a colonizer mentality, he would have charged that Rhino forward straight through her to get to M'Baku. But because of who he is and who she is to him, he can't do anything. Even if he did try to charge the animal stopped dead in its tracks and licked her. And he told her, hey, you're gonna put your weapon down or what? You gotta have to put your weapon down. He didn't even think twice, dropped it, and then he bowed to her, took a knee for her. Not trying to hug her, not trying to, man, baby, I'm sorry. Come on, baby, I'm sorry. He didn't do any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Nothing. He did the rightful thing because he knew who was in front of him. At the end of the day, whether that's the mother, period, of everything. That's the mother. I have to bow down to her. I have to respect her. I have to show my grace to her. If not, who am I? You know what I mean? So that was very powerful in a sense. And the last topic we'll touch on, and then we'll end it for tonight. Because I think this went over everybody's heads. I know it did for me too. When I read the comic and read up on Black Panther, and watching Black Panther since the Fantastic Four cartoon in '94, I've always heard of vibranium, and I always related vibranium to gold. But when I watched the movie and I saw the depiction on how they used the vibranium movie-wise, just visually, because we've not ever had a cartoon Black Panther, and the closest one we had was the adult version on BET. That was the closest cartoon Black Panther we had, and that wasn't really, it hit home, but that wasn't much of an impact for worldwide like how this movie is. But I think Maria knows where I'm going with this, but vibranium alone, when I saw how they was using it, how they was speaking about it, I was like, wait a second. Are they talking about vibration? The vibration of the people, the frequency. And what I mean by vibration, Eric, is if you're not aware already, we're all vibrating right now.
Yeah. and even the Earth's vibration. Yeah.
Correct. And the Earth's vibration. So right now we're vibrating, like how you'll see the Flash vibrate. He'll do this and phase through a wall or whatever. We're doing that right now, but it's because of the actual visualization in the 3D realm. We don't look like we're fuzzing all over the place. And of course, the stability of the frequency that we're currently in at this time also. But moving forward, that alone was like, oh. And then when they spoke on how they use the vibranium for the technology, for the land, how the land is preserved, it spoke in ways where, okay, they're on a complete different vibration and frequency than everybody. Everybody. Not just element-wise, just everything in total. From how they carry themselves, how they speak, how they maneuver in the other world. Like when they go to the US and Europe, and when they go to those other countries, it's like they just blend right in. They don't look around like how you see in Coming to America, where like, Hakeem, this is great. Hello, I am Hakeem. It's nothing like that. It's like, I'm just a regular person going to the grocery store or something. You know, it's normal. And it's like, wow, y'all just really. And it really caught my eye. Like the minute the movie hit, the movie came on, and I caught it. I was like, wow, they're on a different. They're telling us that they're operating on a different vibration and frequency, and you could be there as well too, because the way how they speak, the way how their mentality works, the way how they care for their women, the way how they care for the world, the way how they care for their people and their land, the way how they cared about entrusting other people into their own land, quote unquote, integrating, bringing it, still feeling some kind of way about a CIA agent, which I didn't like, because CIA, you know, J. Hoover, he was a CIA agent. He was the main guy that took down Black Panther. So that was the connection with that. And also Black Panther starting in Oakland, that was another connection with that. So that I took that as they was paying homage to that. But just that alone, and him not being able to comprehend any of what's happening around him. He just knows there's a big fight, it's a big war, and we got to stop this guy. That's all he knows. To us, it's, we got to make sure we maintain our vibration frequency, because if it gets out of control and into the hands of someone else, we already know what's going to happen. We already let one colonizer in. So with that being said, what was your take on the vibranium vibration frequency, what I just stated? What's your guys' take on that alone?
Well,
No, go ahead, Maria.
no, yes, I can see that point. I can see your view, what you're saying, and yes, it's their connection. They flow. The technology they had, it flowed when the CIA, when he was in that plane maneuvering it, it just flowed from him.
Exactly.
So, yes, and that scene, he was empowered some, and that was the vibration. That I can see that.
Definitely. Eric?
I just feel like the vibrations that they have, just with, because, you know, knowing that vibranium is not terrestrial, or is not from our planet, meaning that you know, it literally was like I guess like an asteroid just came down and was just a part of the country at that time. And then knowing that vibration of that element connected with Earth's energy, and they embraced it, I felt like was even more powerful. Because,
they let it flow.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
They let it flow.
Right. And it definitely did flow. And then also it flowed to a point to where they didn't they didn't integrate other cultures with their vibration, but they embraced other cultures. So when they went to was it Beijing? I know it was in China.
Yeah. I think it was Beijing, right? This just for layman's term, we'll say Asia.
Well, they were in Asia, and
Yeah.
so not only did they speak the language, they understood the language.
Right.
And nobody knew it. And also, Nakia had a recent past with that area, and so the vibrations are extremely heavy that they can understand other languages and not just their own, and so they're in tune with the earth, in my opinion. Because they're in tune with vibranium, they're more in tune with the earth and then also their true nature. And so I feel like, that really did even strengthen them personally. I feel like that was even more of their strength, just being aware of the frequency and the vibration that they carry, and that's what really shook people outside, like the CIA agent and the people who were from the outside. Now I don't think that even Killmonger had that kind of vibration, or maybe he did, but I feel like his vibration was a little bit different. It was more of a malice. It was more malicious than anything.
Correct. Like I said, Killmonger was definitely on that wavelength. But again, when you are around an enemy for so long and you're learning from this enemy for so long, after a while you become the enemy. Well, I think there's a term where if you wait around to be the villain, you are the villain, or you become the villain, or something like that to that extent. But you get what I'm saying. It's like working a job, and you have all these aspirations, but 20 years later you see yourself still at this job, and after a while you realize, wait, I am this job now, because I've adapted. We all have the ability to adapt. At some point, you do it long enough, you're going to adapt to whatever it is that you are surrounded by. And it's either you keep fighting it and break and escape, or you're just going to become just that environment. So yeah, it brings home, it hits home, man. This movie hits home. And it's very, very, I can't wait for the Blu-ray version, because originally I was told, I'm serious, I can't wait. I can't wait to have it on my laptop and put it on my drive and have it like a real safekeeping, because I really hope that they bring out the whole entire movie. I was reading up on an interview with Dougler. Shouts out to him. He was the director and writer of the movie, and Ryan,
Young brother.
correct, our age. And there's an interview on Hot 97, by the way, of him going to Africa. I recommend everybody go watch that and hear his experience. But Dougler stated in one of the interviews that the movie originally was supposed to be for 4 hours. And I was like, yo, are you kidding me? 4 hours? I was fucking, what? Like, yeah. Because if it's really 4 hours, then that means they would have probably taken it to the point where they would have explained the story of they would have shown a little small scene of the meteor hitting the ground, the first Black Panther being crowned the Black Panther, meeting Basset, and different things, instead of doing a condensed version where the meteor hit the mountain became vibranium, it vibrated, but what they didn't explain is that the radiation from the meteor turned most of the people that was nearby into demons. So the king at the time, they didn't know what to do. So T'Chaka went to Basset, asked for protection and help, and she granted him the power of Black Panther, and then that's when we get the creation of Black Panther. So they went that route.
Wow. I feel like that 4 hours could have also really dug deeper on Killmonger's journey.
Exactly. Yes.
I want to see about MIT. I want to see about the military experience that he had. What kind of ties did he have? Were there any military cameos that could have popped up with other people? you know, that he could have encountered along the way that could have fueled this to take him to Wakanda, you know, to help him build ties. You know, I thought that would be very interesting.
Exactly, and it wouldn't be so rushed. I mean, the 2 hour version is not rushed. It's very well told, very specifically told, hitting just key points and elements. But for it to be 4 hours, I really want to know and see that what this 4 hour. I really hope they put it on the DVD, and say, yeah, this is the 4 hour cut, like how they did with Batman versus Superman and Justice League.
Right.
Like, they just let the full movie go. But overall, man, I'm gonna go ahead and conclude with this. I do thank you, Eric. I thank Maria. I thank Kaba for all you guys joining in on this topic. Of course, we're gonna talk about different topics. I'm gonna bring some more. I have some ideas, more people with myself and Eric as well, to go ahead and bring into the future. Me and him will speak on that in the future time frame. Because I definitely want to do something with you and others regarding financial literacy, which I spoke to you before we even started doing this. So that will be very big as well too, because our people need to know about financial literacy. But overall, again, thank you for joining me, Eric. Thank you.
Most definitely. Absolutely.
So I'm gonna go ahead and conclude it. Thank you guys for joining Pole Reflection, Pole Fitness. Thank you, Eric, Maria, Kaba, once again for joining in. You guys be great. Walk in peace.
Be blessed, bro. I appreciate you.
No, you're very welcome. I give thanks to you. Thank you.
Most definitely, bro.
All right.
Black cat and I am Panther and dog in the little pink shit, cause diamonds my main abdomen. Revolving my mind, whistling. Fire only steams when I begin brainstorming. The lightning will bring us thunder. Okay, see where I'm storming to.